You did that to yourself. It's your own fault.
I saw Phantom Menace twice, only because the first time was the midnight screening, and I was like, did I really see that? So I went back and saw it the next morning, and I was like, yup. I didn't watch it again until my wife was like, I've never seen the prequels, and I want to watch them. And I said, really?
And let's be honest, by your argument, if you've been eating feces for 3 movies, and then you're given a fistful of broccoli, you're like, that's good broccoli.
It's not, no, it is all ages material. It's not a children's movie, it's all ages material. It is made so that a 5-year-old enjoys it and a 55-year-old enjoys it. That is the difference. Children's material is the La La Loopsy movie. Where it's like, where's Pillow? Oh, she's asleep in a field. That's not Star Wars. I will punch you in the face.
Okay, I can only say this. I saw the original 3 when I was 7. I loved them when I was 7. Watching them at 37, didn't have that same love.
Did the magic in your heart die?
I can see your black soul from here. I know.
See, it's
really cold over here.
I love Force Awakens because, you know, I have my oldest is 5, and I saw, like, that love of Star Wars that I had as a kid, I got to see it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I took her opening night, and, you know, she was on the edge of her seat, and this is a 5-year-old who's, like, gripping the seat and leaning forward and, like, leaning on me and jumping in my lap. I'm like, oh my God! And it, you know, when it was all over, she was like, I need a Rey costume, and I need a lightsaber, and I need a BB-8. I was like, all right, there's a target, we're going. And I haven't gotten that reaction from the original trilogy for her, but I also think that suffers from...
You really haven't. Well, my son was, in fact, you guys can find this on YouTube. I showed my son at 6 the movies the first time, and he had never seen the prequels, so he wasn't ruined by any of that. He watched Star Wars, and he liked it, and I said, okay, we're going to watch Empire. And Star Wars that we watched over the course of like 2 or 3 nights. He's 6, his attention span, you know, even if he likes it, he can't hold his attention span longer, you know, that long. So the next night I said, okay, we're going to watch Empire all the way through, because I knew that they did so many jumps scene-wise that it would keep his attention. And then we got to the notorious scene, and I had the wherewithal to pull my phone out and just kind of slightly put it on it, and I got the best reaction out of a 6-year-old who had no idea it was coming, and could not believe it. Turned to me, and you can see, I don't know if you see that. Yeah. So if you guys get a chance, go to YouTube and look up Mark Brooks Vader, and you should be able to find it. And it's I love that. So yeah, my son he totally reacts. And then we got the Jedi and of course the Ewoks and all that. We just you know.
So in like 4 years, go to YouTube and you can see my daughter's reaction to Star Wars. Though I will say right now, she can sing the theme song, thanks to Jimmy Fallon and the a cappella Star Wars thing. By the way, new parents, best tantrum calming thing in the world.
So is the Xanax.
We've been you gotta talk to Amanda. But yeah, it's since November. Still works.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Hi. Earlier you mentioned that the everything in the Marvel comics is now considered canon. My question is, did you view that as solemn responsibility or kid in a candy store plea?
Kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a solid responsibility to it, but I like knowing that. I mean, you have to realize that all of us up here are artists, so most of us are not writing our material. Writers are writing the material. We're just interpreting it. So by the time it gets to us, it's gone through so many hoops. Lucas has approved it. It's gone through a committee. So everything we get has been approved very heavily by multiple stages. Then whatever we draw, we have to send in, and that goes through a committee approval process as well. But it doesn't mean that we can't slide little things to the background that we know they're not going to notice. And then we hope that they will notice. So that happens every once in a while. But so that's the kid in the candy store part. But the responsibility is knowing that we are held to a certain standard that we have to be, otherwise the has to be drawn.
There's a very high comic seriously,
Yeah, so I think,
which adds to their enduring quality.
yeah, and everything, even no matter what style it's in, kind of across the board, everything has kind of the same look. Because even like, you know, even if I super stylize something, they'll be like, okay, now Chewbacca's head doesn't have a little floofy thing right here. You got to take that out and do this. Or you can't forget, every once in a while I forget to draw the lines on Yoda's forehead, and they say you forgot to waffle iron him. So every time I get that note, I imagine that it's like you have to shove Yoda's face into a waffle iron.
Hello, thanks everybody for coming. This is a question for all of you. Which character or anything, could be a spaceship, could be literally anything, is technically the hardest to draw for you, the most challenging?
I think that Mark can answer that.
Since the invention of SketchUp, none of them. They're all easy. No, so I draw my own ships. The Falcon's the hardest because it's so god darn weird looking. It's just bizarre. It's a sphere, but it's built like a hamburger, so it's got all this little knob of crap all over the side of it. It's got these two triangles that stick out that if you try to draw in perspective, it doesn't quite work. The cockpit's on the side, which makes no sense. Until you figure out how the ship actually works and why the cockpit's on the side, but otherwise, it's a ridiculous design, technically speaking. We just don't think that because we've had 30 years to think it's really awesome. So yeah, that's kind of tough. TIE fighters make no sense either. It's just a ridiculous design. And those flat things are engines. Explain that to me. I don't get that.
Actually, you know, the funny thing for me, I don't have a problem with any for most of them. The easiest one to draw, which seems, but I have the worst time getting it to look correct, are Star Destroyers. So basically, it's a giant triangle. You start putting those into perspective. In the photograph, it looks perfect. You put it on your page, it's like there's something wrong, and there's nothing sticking out. There's no depth cues on it. So if you color it, it's okay. But when it's just your own drawing, you put a rendering or something on it. That's it right there. This is Star Destroyer. Which is fine. Then I have more problems with that than anything.
Anything that gets smaller,
As it comes
but then
towards the
as you
camera.
put it towards you, you make the perspective look right. It just doesn't quite work.
Yeah, and the shots in the film are moving. And you know those shots as stills, but those are all these great moving shots. And those are what you know. And that has been like, I've never been satisfied with doing a straight on shots as I've done or anything else.
Yeah, I think for me, it's after I just they announced at San Diego I'm doing another Star Wars kids book that's called Obi-123. So there's like counting and stuff in it. And I never thought about how hard they were to draw until they were like, can you put 18 pod racers on this page? And I had this moment of like, are there 18 of them? And there are.
And everyone's different.
And they're all different. And there's a lot of stuff.
And they all had equal screen time.
Yay. So I had to draw 18 pod racers. And after that I was like, I never want to do this again. It's the only time in all of Star Wars that I've been like, nah, let's not do pod racers anymore.
I think pot racer designs, like one of the cool, really great designs from the first
Yeah.
films. I mean, one of the things that kind of stood up is how individuals were.
And that pod racing game for me, like the N64 was amazing.
Yeah. Many more towers in an arcade game.
Can I ask one question real quick? When you guys are drawing, are you playing a movie in the background? Are you listening to John Williams' score? Are you listening to anything Star Wars related? Well,
I listen to true crime podcasts. I listen to stories of dismemberment and stuff like that. I'm kind of morbid there, I am.
oh, okay, cool.
Back to the things I hate to draw the most. Mechanical things.
95% Star Wars.
Yeah. So all of it?
Yeah.
So not Chewbacca.
Yeah. I love Chewbacca.
Well, yeah, Chewie's awesome.
I really don't like drawing mechanical things. I was kind of serious with that, but
The hard thing with Star Wars, not to go away from your question, the hard thing with Star Wars is because it was created in 1978. Seven, excuse me. I know. Anyway, the tech, even all the way up to Jedi, is super boxy. It's the boxiest tech ever. But we're constantly required to create like a new kind of ship, or like I'm doing a thing with Han Solo in a race, and he's racing against all these other pilots, and I had to create ships for them. But they couldn't look for lack of a better word, they can't look too good. They have to kind of look, they have to look, you know, early 80s awesome. So everything has to be kind of foxy or kind of weird looking, yeah, clunky, but at the same time, they're racers.
Right.
And I think that's where they went wrong in the prequels, is that everything was suddenly all elongated and slick, and it just didn't make, I don't know, it just didn't scream Star Wars for a lot of people.
I just
So-
think that by the time we got to where the original trilogy started, everyone was just scrapping things together.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Because of the rebellion.
Right, everything was just so decimated, which hopefully we'll start seeing in December.
Hopefully we'll see an adaptation of it.
Yeah.
By one of y'all.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Marvel probably will do an adaptation. I mean, I know they're doing The Force Awakens right now, so there's probably a good chance they'll do an adaptation of it.
Hopefully one of the four of you might draw it.
No, thank you. I've seen how much crap is in that movie. I don't want to draw it.
There's no chance. The one cool thing about doing the Star Wars stuff is that you have your chance to add something to it. I mean, there's all these rules you have to follow, these things that are there, which we love and we know, and so it's fine. But then it's that chance for 30% of it you get to kind of go off the model, make your own stuff, make your own characters. Where something like Force Awakens or Rogue One, you are, you know, that's something kind of crazy, but there's just no room for individuality.
Yeah.
I was lucky I had a chance years ago when I did stuff for StarWars.com. I actually designed and created a couple of characters, all of which got, you know, totally wiped out by the mouse. But it was fun when I did it.
Don't think about all the characters we created 20 years from now, will all be wiped out too, so.